breaking news this afternoon is that the national security operatives, in a joint operation with the police and military, have arrested a Nigerian businessman, Ben Peters, at the Aurora apartment in Kanda near the Jubilee House. Also, part of the operation is Richard Jakpa, Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Mustafa Gbande. What really is going on at Kanda? Let me bring in Mustafa Gbande, who is the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency. Mustafa, so what is happening at Kanda? Why is this Nigerian businessman Ben Peters under arrest?
So good afternoon and good afternoon to our cherished listeners and my brother at the other side. What's happening is that this morning around 9 a.m., we received a distress call from the apartment, which is about 800 meters from the Jubilee House, Nora apartment, you know, the 37 vicinity where the Ghana Water Company is.
Right.
We dispatched police officers to go there and only to receive a report that there are a couple of young men dressed in black suit, armed to the teeth, have blocked the entrance of the apartment with about 20 vehicles. They won't allow anybody to go in. They won't allow anybody to come out. So I actually followed up myself. They will not budge. And all of it was at the command of businessman Benedict Peters, who claimed that the apartment, the residence is owned by Tasako, and that they have failed to give him multiple keys to a number of apartments numbering up to about 8 he owns on that building.
Right.
That is why he has blocked the place. So we ransacked all the boys, picked them up. We requested that since he has blocked, roadblock is a crime.
Right.
The police should take him to the police station. He refused. We're told that anybody who comes up, he will fire a weapon. And so we called for reinforcement. We managed to arrest him, and he's been sent to police regional CID for further interrogation. This same individual, we found him owning a number of vehicles using police sirens. You all know that siren vehicles are not allowed for private individuals in this country.
Right.
He owned a number of pickups with floodlights, sirens, and all of that. He's running a team of security individuals. And you also know that you cannot run a security organization in this country if you are not permitted by the Ministry of Interior.
Right.
And then we found in his possession a number of SUVs unregistered, numbering about 20, Escalade vehicles, very expensive, high-class vehicles, and a police motorcade, of which a number plate was not on it. All of these evidences have been given to the police for further interrogation.
So let's start one by one. So first of all, you encountered some men dressed in black holding weapons. Are they state security officials, private individuals?
These guys were not, on our interrogation, are not state officials. They are Benedict Peters' personal security guards.
And they are holding weapons?
These were concealed threats. I have not seen a gun, but they told the officers that if they came in, they were going to fire. And that was what caught our attention. And this was just in close proximity with the Jubilee House. And so we went there, and truly the guys were there, numbering about 60 to 70 of them. I mean, the whole place was flooded by his boys, all dressed in coats, black suits, and white inner shirts, with pickups yielding sirens and floodlights. And that is when our worry became very intensified. And truly we found a number of things, under under park of the building where they park the vehicles, including the motorcade. And I was wondering why a private individual would be this powerful in our country, rubbish our laws, That's what they want. Render citizens helpless and actually keep them at rampage. It's unlawful. And so he's been handed over to the police for further interrogation.
What about the men you met holding weapons?
We've ransacked all of them.
So they also arrested as well?
Them. Yes, we ransacked all of them.
Okay.
They were arrested.
So apart from the vehicles you found in the premises, you say he was also keeping certain items. Which other items did you uncover?
Apart from the vehicles in the compound, we found a number of SUVs, sophisticated SUVs, without number plates, unregistered vehicles, and then a police motorcade. So all of these will be investigated by the police. Why a motorcade was parked at that residence, at that garage.
And are you able to tell whether a police officer was involved since you came across a police motorcade?
We did not find a police officer or any regular or official officer in this matter. They were all private young men. His own built-up army of young men. He equipped them with vehicles. The vehicles all have floodlights and sirens.
Mm.
And so that was surprising. And I'm wondering if he runs a private security company. Even if you do, would you have the right to deploy such young men to, block a road, block an entire building at the expense of other Ghanaians and diplomats who live in that particular building, only because the owners or the managers of the residents have not given you keys? And that is all it is, keys.
Mm.
And so we have asked the police to invite the managers or the owners of the residence for investigation to ascertain why we got to this level of disruption.
All right. So you know how many people have been arrested?
A number of them, about 20 of them or 25 of them. Benedict Peters himself and another white man who we found in his room, his apartment. When we got there, we were able to get into the apartment. Okay. All of them have been taken to the regional police.
This Ben Peters, do you know his occupation, what exactly he's doing in Ghana?
Allegedly, this is the man that President Akufo-Addo used to run the COVID deal. You remember the man who ran the office, the COVID infrastructure that everybody was paying to him.
Are you making reference to Frontiers?
That is Benedict Peters, yes, that is Benedict Peters. So a number of these cases are already pending, only for him to, out of impunity, get to this level. And I think that we shouldn't run a country where foreigners take all of us for granted. And you can hold a whole infrastructure of residents to ransom only because you label yourself a big man. This is not Akufo-Addo's regime. This is a new regime where the law will work. Number one, as a private individual, you do not have the right to run an organized police or an organized security group without approval from state security. Also because you are a foreigner. Number two, you do not have the right to run vehicles with sirens and police floodlights on them. Number three, you don't have the right to roadblock, deny access to an apartment when you know that it's a commercial place and it is not the case that you are the only individual living there, but many other people, including diplomats. In fact, the husband of the Spanish ambassador was almost crying. All of them cannot go into their house, and that happened close to 3 hours. Mm.
But Mustafa, this clearly falls in the region of a civil matter between occupants of an estate and somebody who claims to also own part of the estate. And I'm wondering why a whole national security will get involved, and then with people like yourself, leaving the Jubilee House to get involved. The police could have easily handled this matter.
National security came subsequently. I was there myself. National security came subsequently. Initially, a team of police officers were deployed to the place. When they met the huge number of his bodyguards or his security team, they called for reinforcement. Reinforcement came from Greater Accra. And then Benedict Peter was hiding in one of the apartments. He would never come out. So they had to search for him. And so reinforcement came. By the time National Security got there, he was arrested and taken away. So National Security would then come and, impound all the vehicles we've seen there and do some investigation also to ascertain whether or not there are documents to it, tax have been paid and all of that. And so to the extent that you have a private matter with other people, it's not enough to roadblock access to other citizens to an apartment. Number two, it is not enough to raise a team or an army of a security team without lawfully being licensed or permitted by the state. You are aware that even in our own country, you cannot run sirens as private individuals.
Right.
So how is it the case that you have all these sirens to the extent of a motorcade in your apartment?
So the media reports also suggest that Mr. Peters went into hiding and refused arrest until the president's brother, Ibrahim Mahama, showed up at the scene.
That is not true. He refused arrest. He went into hiding. We looked for him, found him, brought him down before Mr. Ibrahim Mahama arrived. He was also alarmed when he heard of the disruptions going on because he's a resident.
Mr.
Ibrahim Mahama didn't come there to... Say that again.
Mr. Ibrahim Mahama is a resident of this estate.
Yes. Oh. And so when I also spoke, a couple of individuals also called me because they heard I was there to find out what was going on, only to hear the story. And all of them are unfounded.
So it's not the case that Mr. Ibrahim Mahama presence got him to leave his hiding place and then subsequently he was arrested?
Well, at the end of the day, the suspect is arrested. The police managed to arrest him. We got him, we brought him down, and then subsequently he was taken to regional police. In fact, the regional police commander also arrived even after the men had been able to successfully arrest him.
Okay.
There was no abuse, there was no any differences. Respectfully, we arrested him. I told him that, look, you have to hand yourself over to the police, go with them and make a statement, and then the police will take over from there. At the end of the day, he knows he's broken the law.
Final question will be, you say that this is the same person you've been looking for until this matter came up this morning. Is he also involved in other cases of national interest? No,
I'm just saying that this is a man who, have, in collusion with President Akufo-Addo and his people, squandered COVID money. You are aware. All of us have been aware. Frontiers, the popular Frontiers matter, is Benedict Peters. And so that same impunity would be what will lead to the extent that you can run an institution as if you are a president in another man's country. You build an army without authorization. So we sit here and people breed terrorists and terrorism with their, privately acquired wealth to undermine our national security interests and do what exactly they want to do without respect to our laws.
All right.
He cannot do this in Nigeria.
All right.
He can't.
So now this
Benedict can't do this in Nigeria.
So now this is a matter for the police to continue with their investigation and possibly...
It's a clear matter for the police to deal with. National security would also have to collaborate with other security agencies to impound all the other vehicles that were seen for further investigation to ascertain whether they came into the country legitimately and that the taxes have been paid or not. All these things will have to be done.
All right, Mr. Wagbande, thank you so much for that clarity on this matter. And he is the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Musa Wagbande, also a Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. The breaking news this hour is that national security operatives in a joint operation with the police and the military have arrested a Nigerian businessman, Ben Peters, at the Aurora Apartments in Kanda near the Jubilee House. The operation led by Wechi Jakpa and Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Musa Wagbande, followed reports that Peters, along with some unidentified armed men, had blocked the apartment entrance with his vehicle denying other residents access. And we'll follow up and bring you more on this matter. But Haruna Mohammed is still with me on Zoom. So Haruna, different matter I want to pick your brains on, but do you have any reaction to what just happened at Kanda, as you know, as clarified by Musa Babande?
Thank you, Elton. I would have treated this matter purely on security matters, on a national security matter. However, my good brother was given a very good narrative until he sought to do propaganda in some parts of that particular breaking news. Well, crime is a crime, and I believe that this is purely a national security matter. Ghana is a very peaceful country. We must allow everybody to go about doing their businesses in a rightful manner. For us, we know that we handed over a peaceful country to President John Dramani Mahama. And the last time I checked, among the former presidents of the Republic of Ghana, apart from those who are military persons who either won elections lawfully or came through coup, none of the presidents or former presidents have hold a gun to protect themselves because of insecurity, except the current president in his first term had to purchase a gun in his own name to defend himself. And we know that in this country, it is only the president and the vice president. And the president is the key official who is protected by national security. And if at a point in time, the president himself had to buy a gun for his personal use, that tells you how insecurity the country was. So I don't pray that Ghana should get to that stage under this particular second term of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I leave the matter on the national security to handle that and make sure that the laws of Ghana work.
The party issued a statement supporting your ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee on this matter of 2 aircraft that landed at the Kotoka International Airport. And the allegation from the minority side that it may have brought in cocaine and took away cocaine. The NDC have been swift and direct in criticizing the manner in which your member, Reverend John Ntimfodjo, brought forth these matters. They describe it as lies and something that the government intends to make an example of him. Now the party is fully backing him. To what extent are you doing this? The claim here is that if indeed the allegation is true, the Reverend Ntimfodjo should provide the necessary evidence to put this matter to rest.
I think that this country is grounded on the rule of law. Reverend Ntimfodjo is a member of the New Patriotic Party. He represents his constituents on behalf of the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. He is the ranking member on Defense and Interior, and his duty is to check or fact-check the government relative to security and defense matters. That we think that Ghana should be well aware of that. Not long ago, members of parliament in the NDC were bringing up matters that were very flimsy, matters that people were even laughing at them. But in all these things, they called a shot for matters to be investigated. If Reverend Ntimfodjo is bringing up a matter relative to our peace and security, and also bordering on money laundering, bordering on dispatch and traveling of cocaine and whatever, we need as a country to get the security couples to get to work and investigate and report. You don't need the information minister or government spokesperson to come out and peddle falsehood in an attempt to discredit the good reverend. You see, the response of government is much giving the international community and the people of Ghana some particular mindset to ask questions. Why is it that a plane that has been parked within the premises of the airport, and they came from a particular country to Ghana, and then there were questions on this particular matter. The Ghana Airport Company is not talking. The Ghana Civil Aviation is not talking. The Narcotic Control Board is not talking. Other security couples that are supposed to do investigations on this and to report, because any other plane that flies from any country to another country, details of the plane and the departure of the plane and the items that the plane is carrying is known. We all know that the country that this plane is coming from is a country that is known for money laundering, and everybody knows. We also know that this plane is meant to be carrying patients. It's an ambulance. And this particular aircraft landed in Ghana on a particular day. Felix comes to tell us that the plane came from Rwanda, when in fact the plane came from, is it Grand?
Somewhere in Spain. An island in Spain.
Yes, from an island. So it came in. Then he says that it came with a fault. He mentioned a flight number, that the flight came from another country. In fact, when the flight also came from the same country, and then when the flight also landed, Phillips told us that the flight also, it left on the 25th, when the flight left on the same 22nd to another country and traveled to 3 other countries before coming back to Ghana and leaving on 24th. And the main plane that they said it has issues is the plane that left on the 25th. Again, another flight also had an issue, which Reverend Intimfo is also reporting. And in all these instances, is government spokesperson who are so much interested in communicating and giving wrong clarity to those matters. Even the flight that they are reporting that they are filming, and then the flight is there, and the flight, what time, at any point in time that flight lands in Ghana, then you will see them using a phone, you see a whole crew, you see people in their jacket, they stand in there and they are filming. When in fact that particular flight in question that the government communication is talking about for 3 good months has not even visited Ghana. Except to say that a particular flight, which is currently even at the airport, it is that particular flight they went to shoot. So what at all is the government hiding? The money that was busted and was reported by the media, up to today, we don't even know where the money is. We don't know.
In fact, over the weekend, Mr. Richard Jakpa, together with some media houses, went to this scene, and then, the news is that the money in question is counterfeit, but then also raises you about the container that was used to house the money. And he says that those containers are the ones that Bank of Ghana use in cutting money. So that is the latest on that particular matter.
So you see, these are the questions all of us, as a media, the third arm of government, we have to all look at. When the container issue was reported, it wasn't reported as counterfeit. Check the time. What is the number of months that has been used for them to come and tell us? It's more than a month.
Right.
It's more than a month. The money was seized. The container was broken into. They checked. They saw everything. It was reported to all of us that this is what has been found. And in fact, we are confirming that this is the type of container that the Bank of Ghana uses when they are. So what has happened to the money? Is it that somebody has changed the substance, the real form of money, to a counterfeit money? This is what civil society should be interested.
Right.
This is what our religious body should be interested. The media and the foreign institutions must be interested, because this is something that Ghana frowns on.
Okay.
It has to take Akufo-Addo to work on Ghana to be taken out of some of this particular list in 2021 because of the nature of Ghana that was placed under the previous NDC government.
All right.
So we need clarity on these matters. We are seeing containers being missing. Today we are seeing excavators. About 40 of them are also missing. We have seen their hoodlums run into state institutions, carry rice, carry oil, carry a whole lot of things. Up to today, none of them have returned those particular items. We need a state of Ghana where we have peace, where our properties are protected. This is not the reset that the people of Ghana voted for.
We'll leave it here for now.
On some of these matters.
Mr. Haruna Mohammed, thank you so much for your time. We'll leave it there for now. The party has taken a position on that. We'll follow through and see how this matter will be resolved. But early on...